Well, hello everyone. Well, my name's Tim Lee. I'm director and founder of Collaborate MK, and this is one of the series of interviews for the members of Collaborate MK who have the gold membership option. And today I'm in conversation with Lesley Jones, business consultant, mentor, trainer, and hi Lesley, and great to see you.
Hi Tim, great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, really good to catch up. So tell me, where did your career start exactly?
Ooh, quite a long time ago, really. It's hard to think back that far. So I started my career as believe it or not, a civil engineer. I graduated in civil engineering from Bristol University and spent the first probably 5 or 6 years actually in civil engineering, working on building sites, designing foundations for office blocks and all sorts of things like that, and spent quite a lot of time in foundation design for oil rigs as well. So quite varied for the first few years of my life.
Wow.
But one of the things that happened was technology.
Yeah.
A lot of technology at that time, being personal computers and things coming into the fore. So I eventually decided that engineering wasn't for me, and I kind of jumped ship and went into banking because in banking there was a huge demand for people with technology knowledge.
Yeah.
And I worked for a bank for 20 years, which is
Right.
quite a long time
Yeah.
these days, I think.
Yeah.
Not quite a job for life, because I did jump ship eventually. Yeah, working at banking was a real eye-opener for me. I worked in lots of different departments, worked in their finance division, developing management accounting software, and worked in the international bank, put in a worldwide network, which was absolutely amazing. Got to do quite a lot of traveling to Brazil and places like that, Miami. That was wonderful.
Wow.
And I've ended up in current accounts. So over the 20 years, I've moved around, jumped around from A to B. Current accounts was really interesting because you got to see a lot of different areas of the bank. You know, you had to interface with the debit cards and statements and internet banking and all of that stuff. So it was a really, really interesting job, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. So it was, but yeah, 20 years was a long time actually.
Yeah, it is. It is in reality, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
So,
but I'd always managed to jump around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what led you to running your own business then?
Well, yes. Well, if you've been in a corporate, as you know, there's always a restructure every 5 or 6 years. And I had always managed to find a new position with a promotion attached to it, which was great,
nice.
Which is why I jumped around the bank. But the last reshuffle, just before I left, I was kind of left on the sidelines without a job. So I was put on lots of special projects. And if you know that sort of environment within a corporate, it's always dangerous, always one foot out the door. But I decided at that point, you know what, I think I've had enough of corporate life. So I left basically. They gave me a really nice redundancy package, which was wonderful of them. And I looked after my kids for a couple of years. Joined the PTA, became a governor, all of those sort of things you do when your kids are sort of teenagers and youngsters. And it was at the PTA event that I met a business consultant. And when I was explaining what I was doing and what I'd done in corporate, he said to me, "Oh, you know what small businesses could do with your skills?" So he took me to my first network event ever. I'd never been to one before, which was on a boat on the Thames. And it was very liquid, both on the boat and off the boat, which is a great experience for yes, great experience it was. So, and the rest is history, as they say. I started my own company, my own consultancy, working with small law firms and accountancy practices initially, helping them with putting in the right customer journey and helping the customer experience side of things in terms of systems and process. But you know, like all small businesses, things have changed over the years as I've discovered not only what I like to do and how I like to help people, but what they're going to pay me for. I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? And now I work exclusively with business owners, guiding them on that journey from where they are to where they want to be, really, and just helping them succeed. And that's where I get my kick, really, helping them succeed.
That's terrific, and it's quite a journey in itself. But yeah, I can totally understand that the feeling of wanting to get out and just being your own boss. You know, it's only for me, it's only been 2 years, but there is just something about that, isn't there? And but that's terrific.
Yeah, there is something about that. And I think actually, you know, when you think about the careers advice you had at school, it was all about getting a job. It was all about keeping your head, get a job, keep your head down. And for a lot of us, I think there are other options out there. We might not be very entrepreneurial and very, the Richard Bransons of this world who are just going to do it anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think there's a middle ground of a lot of people who could very successfully run their own business.
Yes, that's it. It's making that leap, isn't it?
It is.
And it is, and it's a risk and it's a challenge, but that's the beauty of it.
It is indeed.
So what do you enjoy most about your business?
What do I enjoy most? I think it's the pleasure. I get a lot of pleasure when my clients succeed and they achieve something that they initially thought wasn't possible.
Yeah.
They're limiting themselves in what they can achieve within their business. And if you can just show them how they can achieve it and give them that confidence, help them change that mindset that they've got within their business to help them grow, both personally, which is really important, as well as their business. And that kind of gives me a huge amount of pleasure for them to turn around and to see that they have, they've hit that height.
Yes.
And then it's the next height and the next height and the next height. It's the next leap that they need to make. So that's the biggest kick I think I get out of working with my clients.
No, I can imagine that. And what sort of services do you offer?
Well, I suppose, at the moment, one of the most popular things that I'm doing is helping people scale to exit.
Yeah.
There's so many people a bit fed up after the last few years. Some business owners are tired and they want to sell. So I work with them to develop an exit strategy so that we get the optimum combination of the timing, the approach, find them a buyer, what's the structure of their business. Because at the end of the day, they want maximum value. They want to get 1 million or 2 million or 5 million or whatever it is. But a business very often isn't in that space when they come and talk to me. And everything I do basically can be related back to what I consider the 3 core philosophies at the business, which is to take control of your business, to achieve your vision, and to give something back. And by taking control, I mean you need to be the boss of you. We all know, particularly when we start in business, that everybody gives you lots of advice, free advice, and you go in all sorts of directions, and you go here and over there, and you lose track of where you're going. So you need to be in control. You need to be the boss of you. And taking control is also about responsibility and accountability, being responsible for your actions. Again, if you move from a corporate job like I did into running your own business, your mindset needs to shift, and that accountability and responsibility is different. And we do the standard, goal setting, planning, what's winning to you, how will you know when you've got there, all of those sort of questions. I suppose it's quite a holistic approach, really, that I take. Whether people are exiting, we look at everything from sales processes, finances, referral partners, networking strategies, the whole shebang, as it were, in terms of it kind of underpins everything. But the main approach is very much holistic in terms of everything, but also bespoke, because I don't believe that one size fits all when it comes to exiting a business or even growing a business. You've got so many dimensions, haven't you? You've got the people for a start, but also you've got the ideas of the business owner, where they want to go. So it's very much tailored, obviously, with an underpinning of certain things that we need to do, and all about strategy at the end of the day. The services that we offer are very much helping business owners to go to the next level, whatever that next level is for them.
And that will only come out in conversation and
absolutely and sometimes you have to dig quite hard for that. Sometimes, bless them, business owners, I don't want to think beyond 3 months. I don't even know whether I'm going to be successful in the next 6 months, or how can I possibly think beyond that? But the analogy that I would give is like you're going on a journey. If you were going on a journey up to Glasgow or something, you'd plan your journey. You'd know exactly where you were ending up. You'd know whether you were going to take the train or the plane, or you'd know what time to leave. You'd pack all sorts of that. You'd plan. You'd really plan for it. But people are afraid to plan for the business, and I think that's one of the biggest things, the biggest mindset shifts I think that you need to make when you when you're running your own business is having the confidence to put a stake in the ground.
Yeah, no, I love that. Sort of, what's your top business tip then that you give a business owner?
This is a tough one. I had thought a lot about this, Tim, in terms of top tips, because there's so many tips. So many. But I think at the moment, there's a lot of talk around recession. There's a lot of bit of doom and gloom coming out of the media at the moment about how awful things are going to be. And I heard an interesting statistic this week that even in the last recession, only 6% of the 5.6 million small businesses actually failed, which is such a small percentage. And even during COVID, it was only near 10%. So, don't be fooled into thinking things are really bad by just listening to everybody around you. So the top tip basically is to sort of round yourself with like-minded individuals who are going to lift you up when you feel a bit low and celebrate when you achieve. And if you can find those growth mindset people who really want to succeed and who aren't going to listen to all that doom and gloom, get 4 or 5 around you, and you will absolutely blast through the next 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years, whatever, and be very successful. And
that is a terrific thought, because I've been there myself. You were saying before about you get so much advice from left, right, and centre. You think, where do I actually start? But then you do end up just with sort of your little crew around you, and then you know who you can talk to and so on. So I can really relate to that. But I think it's so important, because you can be pulled from pillar to post with different ideas if you're not too careful. But
you can, and it's like
being in control yourself. But
it's being the boss of you. It's making sure that when it's taking on board all the advice. Absolutely, listen to what people are saying, because they've had experience. But then evaluate that in the context of, is this good for my business? Is this going to take me one step nearer to my goals, or is it going to distract me? And if it's going to distract you, then you probably should put it to one side and carry on with what you're doing, and just pick the ones that are really going to move you forward and take you that leap, hopefully further to either exit or whatever it is you're trying to achieve with your business.
That's terrific advice. And finally, so what's next for your business? What's the next step?
I guess. How long's a piece of string, Tim?
I was waiting for that.
Okay, well, as you know, I've been rebranding. I've done a rebrand recently, and I'm really happy with what's happened with that. So the short-term goal at me is to build that brand and to become known for helping business owners exit their business successfully. So that's kind of the short-term goal, to keep building that brand. But the long-term goal, Tim, is all about education and all about schools. I mentioned earlier about the advice that people get at schools these days. It's all about getting a job, keeping your head down, going into employment.
Right.
And there are always those people that are going to be successful entrepreneurs, regardless of what environment you put them in, the Richard Bransons and people of the world. But I believe there's people perhaps like you and me who were pushed into employment because that was the right thing to do. We didn't know any better at the time, and neither did our parents, perhaps, because maybe they weren't they didn't run their own businesses. So I believe that there's a kind of a core in the middle there of people, children, teenagers, young adults, who could run their own business, but they don't know how, and they don't know that it's even possible to run their own business.
Wow.
So my longer term goal is to come up with some sort of education process that we can slot in to the schools, or maybe into higher education, so that people can ask themselves the question, is it the right thing for me to do to actually set my own business up? And if the answer is yes, then it's supporting and guiding them to get to that point, because obviously they don't have the corporate experience, they don't have the employee experience that we had when we set up our business, but it's helping and supporting them to generate and create something for themselves.
That's brilliant. That's a cracking idea. I've got some real thoughts in my mind as well there. But no, that's terrific. So well, thank you so much for your time today, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure too, Tim. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. And we'll see you at the next event.
Definitely.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Lesley. Thank you.